Mac Mini. I think it's the best computer that Apple has released this year, / maybe one of their best, most budget-friendly, most affordable computers like in the past little while. The amount that you're getting for this is actually pretty incredible. So obviously the Mac Mini, it's been around. I've got the older, this is the Intel version. So this is something that has become a bit of a desk weight, a paperweight, since I didn't upgrade to Apple Silicon in a while. You can see how much smaller the new Mac Mini has got. So this is 5 inches by 5 inches. It is 2 inches tall. You can see its form factor to the older model. I think it is the cutest little computer that Apple offers. Obviously, it's rocking the new M4 chip. You can also get this spec'd with the M4 Pro. So let's go over pricing first. So you can grab this, the base model, for $599. That's US, or $799 Canadian. You can get the M4 Pro for $1399 / $1899 respectively. So when you compare that to the new M4 Pro MacBook Pro, this is honestly some really good value for students. I think this is such a good deal with student pricing. You can get around $100 off. This packs a mighty punch, a mini punch. It's honestly like a mini Mac Studio, which didn't get an upgrade this year, so I would definitely be more compelled to buy this over the Studio if you're kind of comparing the two. Kind of looking at the box, if you haven't seen it, my first unboxing of it, it is, once again, a very cute computer. So with all Mac Minis, this unfortunately doesn't come with any peripherals, any I/O. So that's the first thing. You have to buy separate pieces. If you do decide to go with Apple stuff, they've actually updated all their peripherals to now be USB-C. So we've finally gone away from good old Lightning, so you can get the Magic Keyboard with, of course, Touch ID. You can get the Magic Trackpad, which I really like if you're editing. The Magic Mouse, controversial, maybe still one of the weirder products that Apple makes. The charging port, even though you can see USB-C, is still unfortunately at the bottom of the mouse, or you can just rock older peripheral if you have them lying around. I actually paired mine with my older orange iMac keyboard and trackpad combo, but the nice thing is, computers have obviously been out forever. Most people have extra peripheral lying around, so you don't need to buy extra ones. And then for display, it just kind of plugs in via USB-C, the Thunderbolt on the back. Just remember, on the M4, those are Thunderbolt 4 ports, whereas on the M4 Pro, those are Thunderbolt 5 ports. That really kind of affects what displays that you can support. So the base M4, you can do 2 6K monitors and 1 5K, and then on the M4 Pro, you can do up to 3 6K monitors, so you could theoretically connect 3 Pro Display XDRs if you wanted. A lot of people will just rock this with one studio display. You can even rock something HDMI if you want. It also has the power port, and you can actually upgrade the Ethernet port to 10 gigabit if that's what you want. And controversially, a lot of people have talked about this, you've got 2 I/O ports on the front. I honestly don't mind that. So when I was pairing my mouse and keyboard, I just kind of plugged them in via the USB-C ports at the front. A lot of people will say that it kills Apple design. It's functional. You don't have to reach weirdly around the back. I honestly don't mind that. You've also got the little power LED and a headphone jack. And on the bottom, maybe more controversially, you obviously have the fan design, a bit of a fingerprint magnet for this matte black, but the on and off button is on the bottom. And once again, I'm not really too chuffed about that. Once you turn this on, how many times do you turn your computer on or off? This is a stationary device. It kind of sits at your home computer. Once it's on, your computer is on. You'll put it to sleep, you'll restart it every once in a while. To me, once again, that isn't the biggest deal. And for the weirdest reason, if you have to restart it, you gotta stick your finger underneath and do a long repress. But that is what it is. Setup for this, super simple, just like all Apple products. Just remember, you need your own separate peripherals. Look how cute this entire setup is. I am rocking some of my older peripherals, so you can kind of mix and match. You can see here the model that I have, Mac Mini. This one has 48 gigs of RAM. This is the Mac Mini M4 Pro. My recommended spec is just to get the base Mac Mini, get that student option or that student discount if you can, maybe bump up the storage. So it starts at 256 gigs. It's a stationary computer. You can always plug in an external SSD. You can plug in a little XR SSD. You can swap between that and say your MacBook, whatever you kind of want. I don't think getting a terabyte makes a lot of sense because Apple always charges extra or more for their storage options. And then from there, you have this Awesome little powerhouse computer for relatively cheap. You can get it for like under $1,000, and you can kind of swap in your peripherals. So like I said, you can plug things into the front. A lot of like Apple purists or pure minimal designers will say that this is a bit of a sin. I honestly think it's fine, but once again, let me know your thoughts. I've got it plugged into a monitor that once again, way too overkill for the Mac Mini. This is typically plugged into my Mac Studio, and this is actually a great size comparison between the two. Like, look how much smaller the Mac Mini is to the Studio. And since we didn't get an upgrade to the Studio this year, if you were eyeing this, like I said, honestly, lean towards the M4 Pro Mac Mini. I think this is a better buy than spending way more money on the Mac Studio. I guess you just don't have as much I/O, and if you really want to complain, that on and off button is still on the Mac Studio on the back versus the bottom for the Mac Mini. For the power, for the size, for what you can do, we've already edited a couple like clips on Final Cut. 4K files, this thing absolutely rips through. I was lucky enough to test out at the Apple event when this was released, like the base model, the M4. This still rips through 4K footage with no problem. You can do everything for it. The price is great. I think this is great for students, for anyone getting like into the Apple ecosystem. I think it's like a great entryway. There has been no better time to buy the Mac Mini, and if you're coming from something like Intel based, like my good old paperweight here, even if you're coming from like the M1, M2 Mac Mini, this new one really takes the cake. I think this is my like best recommendation for a computer right now that Apple currently sells. Like this and a MacBook Air, I think would be the perfect combo for someone. But let me know your thoughts if you're picking up a Mac Mini. I know a lot of people said they've placed pre-orders already. And if you want any more testing comparisons, like I said, my M4 MacBook Pro video just went live, so you can check that out. And up next on deck is the M4 iMac. We'll catch you guys for one of those vids. Peace.